Hi, Laura here from Mountain Mud Pottery. Today I'm going to show you how to make plates using 3 different techniques. I've got some clay wedged up and ready, so I'm just going to go ahead and start. Okay, the first one I'm going to do is just throwing a plate, and this is about 4 pounds of clay. So I'll go ahead and get this ready for you. And as I said before, I always kind of do a little bit of a chop here to make it stay on the wheel head or the bat better. Then I run a dry finger on it as well, just to make it stay. So I'll just get it ready, and then I'll start explaining it a bit further once I get it to the point that's ready to open. So at this point, I want to make it like into kind of a frisbee shape and flatten the top a little bit. And then I'm going to open it. So I find the center. And you can either use your middle finger, or some people use their thumbs to get in there. I always use my middle finger and then just start kind of slowly opening it. So with this plate, you're going to be doing it in increments. And I just want to check the bottom thickness. So I take my pin tool and I put it to the wheel head or to the bat. I put my finger at the end of the clay, and that is about half an inch, maybe a bit less than half an inch. I want to leave a bit of thickness on the bottom because when I undercut it to take it off, it will leave some clay. If it's too thin, you'll lose the bottom. So now I'm going to compress the bottom each time, and then I'm going to open it a little bit more. And I'm using my thumb on my right hand to push it, and my left hand is stabilizing it. And then, so I want to compress that again. With each time I pull it out, I then compress the bottom. Add a bit of water. And then I'm going to again be pulling it right over. So I'm compressing this for 2 reasons. I want it to be as flat as possible, and also this will help eliminate any cracking that may happen. So now it gets a bit trickier because I am now going past where I had it opened, and I want to really compress the bottom even more now because I don't want to trap any air. So I'm doing this in increments, kind of slowly. It does get a bit more challenging to spread this large amount of clay out flat like that. So compressing is really important, so take your time and do that part of it. more times, and then I'll just bring up the sides. So now I just kind of compress it back so it's more stable here on the rim. And then I'm going to slow the wheel head speed down a little bit. I'm going to apply water so it's lubricated but not sopping wet. I'm going to put my finger under the bottom to bring it up, at which point I can start to pull up the walls. And it's kind of I'm squeezing it right from the bottom on my right hand, and my middle finger on my left hand is squeezing it up as well. I release slowly and compress the rim. Compressing the rim is important to keep it stable. You don't want a really thin rim, especially on a plate, because it would chip easily. And when you're pulling up the rim, you want to at first keep it kind of straight up and down more. You don't want to start bending it out until you have the walls thinner, because once you start to bend it out, you can't really pull more clay out from the bottom. So I'm going to make a little indent on the bottom to give myself a reference point to pull from, and then I put my sponge or my fingers under there, and then I again pull up. And then slowly take my hands away, compress the rim. And then before I bend this over to make it more like a plate, I undercut the thickness that's left under there, because once you pull the plate down, you can't really get it under there to do that. So I do that part now. So I just take off the excess, and then I can make it more into a plate rim shape. So I would again compress the bottom with a rib, and then I put my hand, my wet hand, this way to support the rim, and then I take a rib and just bend it over to give it a plate shape. And that's it. So that's it for this type of plate, which is completely thrown on the wheel. I would not undercut it yet with my wire tool, because if I did, it's very wet and the wire would likely come through and ruin the plate. So I'll let it sit up overnight, and then I will show you tomorrow how I undercut it and what I do after that with it. This is the plate I made throwing it on the wheel. That's the first plate that I made in my series. I'm just going to undercut it today because it has now set up enough to undercut it. So I take a heavy wire tool and place it at one end, holding it taut with my left hand and pulling it straight through with my right hand, right to the very end. And then I'm going to put a bat over top of that plate, flip it over, and then separate the plate from the bat. It's got a bit of the line from the wire tool. I'm just going to even that out now while it's wet. I will take a scraper then and scrape this wet clay off the bat. If I was to leave the plate on this bat, it would just stick again. So now I'll reverse that, put this bat on top, flip it back over, and I want it to sit this way so it stays flat. And now it's still too wet to trim. I will probably do a bit more trimming on that, probably tomorrow after it sets up to leather hard. Thanks for watching this, and I have two other methods to show you, so please Watch my channel for the other two methods and please subscribe. Thank you.